All right, we're speaking with the AyoBooks team. They're the founders and the creators of illustrated books that teach African languages and African educational orientation. So, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Bala, and this is Bonket, and we are the AyoBooks team. Hi.
Okay, so what prompted you to create this product?
Well, basically, I came up with the idea because we're first generation, and this is my husband, Tunji.
Hey, brother.
He's supporting, you know, lots of love.
Got to.
So basically, yeah. Basically, we are all first generation Nigerian Americans who were born in the U.S., New York City to be exact.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we're not fluent in our mother tongue, which is Yoruba. We're all Yoruba, Nigerian American. And as an educator myself, I saw that if my parents had books geared towards children, it would have definitely helped us be more fluent in Yoruba. And so I came up with the idea of creating illustrated books with kids in mind, you know, so that to help, you know, not just first generation born here of the West African or African diaspora, but also people just interested in learning other languages other than just the English, Spanish,
the European
French.
language.
The European language. So this is just, you know, introduction. My wonderful sister here, you know, has been helping since day one. I actually did the illustration and design, graphic design. She actually used to business.
So that's your background?
That's my background. I'm actually I'm an art history professor, African art history professor, but also I'm an art educator. I've taught people from 4 years old to 100 about African art and African culture.
Okay.
So this is my trade.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, she said you're the business person?
Yeah, so I went to HBCU, Hampton University.
HBCU.
Yeah. So I went to Hampton, so I actually have like a business and science background. So I was just excited to actually use that business degree and actually do business in an entrepreneurial sense, right? So not just stay in the like ivory towers, but actually do something real and something for the community and something that I'm also passionate about, which is our culture.
Okay. Now, in this country there are very close-knit Nigerian, Cameroonian, other African communities. So in that environment, you didn't learn the language. You didn't hear your folks speak the language.
Yeah, we know some. Like we know, like you know, the cues. Like stop it. Like what are you doing? Did you say good morning? Like you say
thank you.
Did you greet me? Like we know. Like and actually listening, we know a bit more than we think we do. Because once we've both been to Nigeria and like being around our grandparents and our cousins, and we start to pick up things. So it's more about like being immersed in the culture, like fully at a deeper level, that you start to see, okay, I do understand more than I think. But then when we're in like Brooklyn, New York, we're hearing different things. But we understand like the key words, the key phrases. But deeper than that, there's also like a language, a culture, you know, like a language of culture that not only us as Nigerians share, but as Black Americans we all share. So that's really what we're trying to do with AyoBooks, is to kind of break down any like misconceived or preconceived notion that there's this separation, you know, between all of us by looking at the similarities, but also looking at the difference, because we're not just all the same. You know? So it's like,
So how long did it take you to go from the concept to execute and then production?
So it's a continuous process. So my sister, you know, it's a continuous process. We're always evolving. We're still thinking of products that are that people want. So we're also listening to what like parents, teachers are telling us that they want, that they can use in their classroom. So we're constantly developing new products. And the first book that we made was the Yoruba alphabet coloring book, and that was my sister who just
Which one is that? Okay.
It's this one.
All right.
And she made that in her spare time. And she was like, hey, well, check this out. You know, like, and so I looked at it, I thought, this is dope. This is pretty cool.
So how many books do you have altogether then?
We have 4 books.
Okay. And let me scan
4 posters.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm
the 4 books, 3 are coloring books, alphabet coloring books. So we have the Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa alphabet coloring books, and each of these come with an associated chart. So after the child is finished coloring, coloring the book, they can have the chart to reference, right? So even if they don't learn the language, they can still be familiar with the culture, like seeing a mother carrying the baby on the back. That's very African, right? So just to immerse them in the culture of Africa, or the cultures of Africa.
Okay.
And then
now you also provide information about the continent of Africa.
Yes.
Right?
So this is one of our recent products that we're looking to think more about the larger continent. So highlighting the major languages of Africa. So there are thousands of languages in Africa, right? So you can't really get all of them on a map, otherwise it won't be a map, it will just be
just words about language. Right?
Exactly, but if they have a basic understanding, a basic start, and also an idea of the geography of Africa, that's really important, and that's something that's lacking.
Right,
so they can envision this on their wall, and maybe one day they'll end up being all over here doing business in Africa, because that's another thing that's opening up for African Americans or for Black people, all people, to come do business in Africa, right? Because this is our home as well. So.
Right. How can people get more information about your products?
So you guys can check us out at AyoBooks.com. Follow us on AYOBOOKS.com. We're on Amazon. You can type AyoBooks in the search engine. We're also on Instagram, on Facebook. Facebook is AyoBooks Brings Joy, and also AyoBooks. You'll find us there. We're on Twitter, and we are expanding our YouTube page, so you will see more from us.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, who's the target audience?
So the target audience are families, right? So it's really children, but in order to reach children, you have to market to the parents. Right, they have the dollars. Right. So parents who are interested in teaching their children, so not just parents, but educators, teachers, and parents who have either their own children physically or just parents by virtue of the community.
What about mentoring programs or Afrocentric programs?
Yes, definitely. And so my sister is also available for museums. If you have to do sessions where she'll do guided art projects. So one of our next projects coming up is the We Wear Our Crown series, and we're developing a storybook, and the children will be able to understand and distinguish between the different styles of head wraps in Africa, and color their own crown. And they can wash it and color again and wear it, like how I'm wearing a headpiece. This is actually Adire, but they'd be able to color or tie-dye if they like their own pieces.
Now, are you able to, I know you're an educator, so are you able to put more time into the business, or is it still?
That's a good question. It's always a balancing act, but being an educator, what you do outside of the classroom always feeds what you do in the classroom. So I think the trick is, and the challenge is to have time for both.
Right.
Really. Right. So that's the constant thing that I'm working on.
Right.
I mean, eventually I'm working towards making sure that I have more time to go to AyoBooks. But in the meantime, it's
Yeah. Now you're in New York. You're out of New York.
Yes, out of New York. Well, we're based in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, in Rhode Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how'd you get to Rhode Island?
Work.
Okay.
Yeah, work.
Your husband has been supportive, and that's the only way that you're going to really be successful.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of time to be an entrepreneur. You got to put a lot of time. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I mean, it's good to see that it's a family affair, because our people throughout the diaspora need to see that, because we're under attack. Our families are under attack.
Yes, definitely.
You talked about the new product.
Yeah.
So where would you want to be? Have you mapped out your short-term, intermediate, and then long-term goals?
Yeah.
Well, short-term goals is to really make AyoBooks the major, short and long-term, to make AyoBooks the major creator, producer of books for children and young audiences about African languages and culture.
Right.
Long-term, short-term, we're focused focused on visibility.
Yes.
And we're still relatively new, so building up our own infrastructure.
Right.
So reaching, like building the social media audience and making sure we're reaching out to people, because you know people need to know that we're here. You know, so that's really the short term, and creating products that people feel like they must have, right?
Okay.
Because it's so important, and that it's on point, that not only is it visually like appealing, that it's actually educationally satisfying and correct and good.
Now, you're in Philadelphia right now. This
Yes.
is the Odunde Festival. For us here in Philadelphia, in this area, this begins like the summer street festival, all that. So, are you going to have the time to be running back and forth to, because this is not just happening here in Philadelphia. I mean, there are other festivals similar.
Yeah, we've participated in several festivals. This is our first year at Odunde. We're very excited about being here this year. We participated in a festival in Boston and a couple of festivals in New York.
Right.
The first festival that we actually participated in was the Nigerian Independence Day Festival, which they have annually in October, either the end of September or in October. So, yeah.
Now, the DC area has a large contingent of Nigerians, DC, Maryland. So have you been able to reach out to them?
Not yet.
Okay.
But we have family. It being we have family there. But in terms of actually participating within a festival, we have yet to do that, but we will. We have plans.
All right. You got an email?
Yes. Email ayobooksoonline@gmail.com.
Spell that out.
AYO online ONILINE @gmail.com.
Okay.
Yes.
And give us the other social media
Handles.
that you have.
So
So give us your Facebook contact information.
So on Facebook, it's
and other social media.
All right, Facebook, AyoBooks brings joy, or you can just type in AyoBooks in the search engine, it will come up. On Instagram, it's just AyoBooks. On Twitter, AyoBooks. So everything AyoBooks. And you'll find us.
Okay. All right. Now you were talking about your short-term intermediate. So what's your intermediate goal?
Continue to work on branding, marketing, and developing more products based upon the feedback that we get from our audiences, our customers, people that we meet just like you know, who give us.
So what thus far, what has been the feedback?
They really enjoy because we first came out with the coloring books, and then we came up with A is for Adiwe, which is a storybook. Well, it's like a dictionary, Yoruba cultural dictionary. For the most part, that has been our bestseller. People are always attracted to color, you know, very colorful images.
And visual.
Yeah, and storybooks. So that has been a major part of our feedback that we've been getting. So yeah.
And this is June the 12th, so it'll be up very shortly. So are you going to be any place in the next month or so that people can go and see?
In September, we're going to be at the Brooklyn Book Festival.
So you don't go to the boys? It used to be Boys and Girls High. They used to have a big
yes,
festival.
the African, yes. Well, unfortunately, I don't think we were able to do that this year, but hopefully next year.
Okay.
We used to go faithfully every year. But it's no longer at Boys and Girls.
Right.
It's at,
See, I haven't been in years, so I don't know. Okay. It caught my eyes, very colorful. Of all the things that I walked around, I said I definitely have to talk to them to find out what's going on. So
we appreciate that.
Best of luck to you, and I hope to see you around.
Yes, definitely.
Here they have a Caribbean festival, they have an African festival. It's down on the river and Penn's Landing.
Okay.
So there'll be a lot of things, and also keep your eyes out because a promoter here is going to revive the African American family reunion that's going to be coming in September.
Okay.
So yeah, that'd be something.
Do we have your contact information?
I gave your sister my card.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We appreciate this.